Hello, you're watching Hornbill TV's newsroom. In this age of technology, everything has been simplified. The Internet of Things has really made the life of a common man convenient and non-laborious. But with any technology, it has both the good and its ugly side. Cybercrimes and fraud with the advent of technology are increasing day to day, and in this web of deceit, even educated and people in respectable positions also find themselves stuck. Just a day ago, a report emerged posing as officials of the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. Cyber fraudsters duped a doctor in Noida of more than rupees 59 lakh earlier this month by keeping her in digital arrest and telling her she was involved in the circulation of porn videos as well as a money laundering case. In the case of Nagaland too, Hornbill TV has received and even reported numerous cases of cyber crimes and cyber frauds, and this trend only seems to be increasing, which is alarming. The Nagaland police too sent out a notice to the citizens to report cyber crimes through the toll-free number 1930. And in today's newsroom, we will try and analyze why such crimes are increasing day by day, and for this we will be joined by our associate editor Al Nguli, and we will be trying to gauge the reasons as to why such crimes are increasing day to day and why people are falling prey to such cyber crimes and cyber frauds. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining me on this special newsroom. So, cyber crimes and frauds are instances of crimes that are being reported day to day. You go to the front page of any major newspaper, you're bound to find one particular case relating to such people getting duped of their financial savings, getting duped, and these crimes don't seem to have an end. They are only increasing. So in your regards, why do you think such crimes are increasing, and how come such crimes are even targeting even people with respectable positions who are doctors, who are officers? Why do you think that such trend is only increasing and not decreasing, sir?
Yeah, it is bound to increase, Akivi. According to data, I think it was in around 2012 that it was reported that there were about 3,600 cyber crime cases in India. But 10 years down the line, it spiked all the way to, in 2022, 65,000 cases per year. And that's a huge jump. It is increasing, and one of the main reasons, but not the least of them, and this is not the core of them either, changing technology, ever-changing technology. Mobile technology has brought us closer, our family and friends, new connections, but it has also brought criminals closer to the potential victim, Akivi. And with mobile technology changing all the time, and you have new concepts of technology such as artificial intelligence, and with internet technology and also social media bringing criminals closer to a potential victim, the cases are increasing. And of course, nobody is safe from criminals who wants to devise ways to dupe people of their earnings, of their money, or even compromise their reputations in various ways. It's not just about money also, if you count the instances. So why does this keep happening? I think the primary reason is because technology is always trying to come up with new ways to make the life of the user convenient, easier, and accessible. But in that process, the security of the potential victim is also compromised. And this is what criminals look for. They are not looking at whether they can break through the wall. They are always looking for cracks in the wall. So for the slightest instance that they find an opportunity to exploit, it is always the end user who has to fight that line. So you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be anyone, the chief minister, the president of India. No one is safe because, like I said, because technology is always changing. The burden of trying to keep up with its use, the burden of utility is always placed on the potential victim. it is never the criminal. So it is easier for criminals to exploit the system, and that is the reason why we are seeing spike in cybercrime cases, Akivai.
All right, so in another aspect of it, there are so many online scams that are reported, but there are also so many online crimes, or rather such crimes that are not reported. And the most common factor, even HornbillTV received one such report in which there was a lady who received, who was a victim to such a crime, but it took her time to report the crime due to because the fraudsters had morphed her images and created pornographic content. And and already with regards to pornography, there's already a certain stigma, or there is this taboo as to, even though you're not the actual, even though you're not actually present there in the video, because they morph your videos and make such content, there is some fear as to the victim to report such crimes. In this regard, do you think this the stigma or the taboo behind such content should be broken? So that the victim can report the crime as early as possible, so that the law enforcing agencies can take action much sooner rather than later?
Yeah, definitely, Akivi. I think even before the concept of cybercrime in the context of India became a point of conversation, I think the whole idea of taboo, and especially when it comes to anything that contextualizes sexual compromise, I think now India is a place where these things are still yet to settle in within the consciousness of the society. When we look at cybercrime and in context of sexual crimes, I think both of them are used interchangeably, especially when you are trying to when you are trying to elicit some kind of dishonest gain. So what criminals do is that they will often use different tactics, and especially pornographic imagery, which may or may not be of the potential victims, but they would create and devise such kind of tactics so that they could bring to compromise the victim and gain secure some dishonest gains in this regard. So the reason why these instances are increasing, why these cases are increasing, is because there is stigma around the whole idea of, especially for women, there is stigma, as you said, around being exposed in ways that you don't want to, especially for women. So criminals understand this. Criminals, they understand that you are going to protect something, your reputation, and they are going to use that as a bargaining chip for them to secure these honest gains in this regard. So yes, I think we have had cases of women who were threatened that their private images would be circulated online if they don't do this or that, if they don't send money, or if so. In this age of artificial intelligence, where imagery of people living and non-living could be created so that they could gain dishonest, they could secure dishonest gains, I think it is easier for criminals to, and it is easier for women, especially women, to concede to such kind of demands. So definitely education in the schools, and especially with the government leading through promotional campaigns, I think it will help the community, especially the women, to be able to stand up and say, hey, this is wrong, they did this to me, so we are going to take this or that action. It will be easier for the community to stand up, and if the community would stand up in this regard, breaking of the stigma will be easier and faster, Akive. And the reason why there is still stigma, of course, is because obviously we are not willing to talk about it. We are not willing to bring this to the public forum where we can have discussions and come at a solution.
All right, so the center had, on July 1st, the center introduced 3 new the crime laws replacing the colonial criminal procedure, or rather the colonial criminal laws. In this regard, when it comes to cyber crimes, these crimes actually fall under the Information and Technology Act of 2000, and the government has been amending this act by introducing new clauses such as 66A, especially relating to cyber crimes and cyber frauds. So, in this regard, do you believe that the states, even the states, should be allowed to frame their own laws regarding cyber crimes and cyber frauds? And do you think that there should be an increase in synergy between the information technology departments of various states amongst each other, so that such crimes can be tackled in a more synergized and a cooperative way? Because if you look at instances, the fraudsters are there sitting in Delhi or Haryana, and the victims are here lying in Nagaland or any northeastern state. In this regard, when you complain, you file a complaint with the state police, don't you think it gets a little too taxing for that respective state police administration to actually connect with the state where the fraudsters are in order to tackle such issues, making the case actually stretch too long and justice delayed?
Yeah, cybercrime in India is relatively and comparatively a very, very new concept. If you look at let's say the United States or the European countries, it's a very, very new concept for us. And for a long time, we were struggling with how to define cybercrime, because it was not something you could feel, see, or touch. So even till 2000, we did not have any legislations in regard to how to effectively and directly address cybercrimes. And that was the reason why before 2000, cybercrimes used to be treated under certain sections of the Indian penal law, because we did not know how to address it. We did not know how to take action against it, and of course there were technological limitations in this regard. Now our technological utility is much, much higher, and I think the government is keeping up with it. Of course they have the resources, and that is why they are building stronger, bigger, smarter bulwarks against criminals, cyber criminals. But before 2002 there was none. And yes, if you look at the Indian laws, we still don't have a very stringent, very direct and very measurable legislation in regard to cyber crimes, because first thing, the country has yet to define what cyber crime is. It is not something, like I said, it is not like stealing, it is not like murder, it is nothing like that. It's not like corruption. It is something that most of the time you don't have the criminal in hand. Most of the time you are basically looking at certain series of codes on a computer, not a person. So you don't know how to address it. You don't have a shape and form of that which you are seeking, that which you are investigating or hunting for. You don't know how to define the crime. So that is the main problem. So I think the information technology and cybercrime legislation of 2002 I'm saying tried because it is still incomplete. It does not define the entire scope of cybercrime. Today we have literally hundreds and different types of forms of cybercrime. We have got phishing attacks, we have got malware attacks, we have got even artificial intelligence powered criminal hacks. There are thousands of them, and we don't know which one to. How do you prosecute one crime and then use that same parameter to address another? There are so many of them. So the IT Cybercrime Act of 2000 tries to address this, but still we don't have any laws as codified, as regulated and monitored as the Indian penal law, which is a very defined form of laws. But for cybercrimes, no. So definitely all the states, I think they need to have their own respective laws, because each cases from each state is unique and different from the cases that is being faced in the other state. So I would agree with you. If the state could come up with a legislation like that, definitely it might not help everyone, but for at least the population of a particular state, if they have a law of their own, it will definitely help the situation.
Also, you had just mentioned before that these criminals do not look at what position you are holding. You may be a doctor or a lawyer, but they will look at all these certain aspects of your life and then target you that ways. So, when it comes to literacy, people only talk about education. Do you believe that in today's time, people should focus on technology literacy too? Because today, a smartphone is such a dangerous equipment. It can be used as a very social learning, or it can be used as an education tool, but it can also be used to inflict such crimes against people. So with the advent of technology and with the ever evolving technology, today we are talking about 5G. The Indian government is already looking to roll out 6G too, and India wants to be the hallmark of how 6G is used in the world. In this regard, do you believe that education and also awareness by the law enforcing agencies regarding technology literacy could also be a way out, and also educating and making people aware of such crimes? Do you think this could also be some of the ways in which such cyber crimes and frauds could be tackled?
Yeah, definitely, Akivi. I think technological literacy and education is, I think, the heart of all this. People are not exploiting technological loopholes, Akivi. Criminals are not exploiting technological loopholes. They are exploiting the ignorance of the potential victim. So if the victims knew that, if the victims had been told beforehand by someone that people do this and that to you, they say this and that to you so that you can give your life savings to them, if they were told that this is wrong, or if they were told that criminals attack them in this way, then they would not have fallen victim to it. It's all about education. At the heart of it, it's not even technological bulwarks that we have. It's not even strong legislations and laws. It's not even effective administration. It is education. So I think the states should start promotional campaigns in this regard to educate the people. Of course, when we go to the bank, you will see posters saying the banks will never ask for your passport, your PIN, your account numbers. If they require you for something, they are going to call you to the bank personally and in person, and they are going to tell you what issues to address. They are not going to ask you over the phone. They are not going to ask you over the email. For example, we see those posters. Sometimes you get messages like that in your phone, but that is not enough, because people, a majority of the people, they still do not understand the scope of the criminal's reach. It could be in this way, it could be in that way. Recently, we had a report about this particular person in India who recorded his uncle's voice on an artificial intelligence powered app and then use it to defraud his uncle's relative. And that relative thought that this was actually this person's uncle who was asking for money. So that relative only heard the voice, that AI generated voice, and they thought that this was the real uncle. So they sent him money, and that person's money is gone now. So if that person was told in school or in the society or in the office or by the government that they can do this, criminals can do this, you have to be on guard, you should not respond to this kind of calls, or they can use artificial intelligence to clone your voice to empty your bank account. If somebody had told him like that, something in that nature, then he would not have fallen prey to that attack. So like you said, education, I think this is the heart of it all. The United States, they are formulating artificial intelligence laws now. They have their own cybercrime laws, and even across Europe. But generally, their main focus is on education, and it starts at school, and that is why they don't rely much on the laws in that context. They rely much on the knowledge of the people. So comparatively to India, they don't have as many cases, cybercrime cases, as India has. And it is because most of their citizenry is educated. They are well informed about attackers or cyber criminals. But India here, no, we don't have the right laws. We don't have defined laws. Our administration is not strong in this regard, like I said, because we don't have the shape and form of the criminals. And education is low. And I'm not just speaking it in terms of academics, but community education, information, and educating people about what is going on outside the world, including cyber crimes. So if we could start a promotional campaign or an educational initiative, I think that will be a great help. And like I said, technology is always changing, and we will have to keep up with it, and there will be here and there falls, but then it will help the situation a little bit more, and I think fewer people will fall victim to cyber criminals.
All right, so time seems to have been up. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this special newsroom and giving us your view on why such cyber crimes and cyber frauds are increasing day to day in India and in Nagaland too. Thank you so much. Well, that was our associate editor, Al Muli, and we were just talking about the reasons behind why cyber crimes and cyber frauds cases are increasing day to day. Well, education and technological literacy seems to be the need of the day, and education and information are important aspects to how the society can tackle such issues. Well, you should be aware of your surroundings too, and get yourself updated as to the latest crimes that are taking place every day, so that you don't fall a victim to one. Well, that was all for this hour's newsroom. For more news and updates, stay tuned to HornbillTV. Goodbye.